Hello, this is Christian. In this video, I'm going to add a Bootstrap theme to or a template to our page, our site here. So this is the default app we created earlier. I'm going to go to the code, and I think I'll go to the Blackboard, and the assignment asks you to add Bootstrap to your template, to your page. So I'm going to go to this page here, the business site template, and just download this one here. Okay, so download the free version. It's just a zip file basically. You can just open the zip file here, and just gonna drag it to the front page, to the let me close all of these here. I'm gonna drag this to the desktop here. Okay, and then go to the React folder that you created earlier. Inside my document, I have the projects. Inside my React, and then here is where I have, turn it off, the React here. So go here and open the public folder. Okay, if you have, yeah, you shouldn't have the vendor here. If you do have it, that's fine. I think you shouldn't have that there. I'm not sure why, but yeah, it shouldn't be there. If it's there, that's okay. So you need to go into in there and open this folder and then copy just the CSS, the vendor, and well, the HTML is already there, so you don't want to override that. But for now, let's say I'm going to move this over here, and in this case, I'm going to replace it, my vendor. So I move my CSS and the vendor. And so for this index, well, I'm going to rename it so I don't duplicate that over there. Okay, so I'm going to rename it to maybe index 2. Okay, and you can just drag over there if you want. It will move from here. I'm not going to use this anymore. So you can close that now. And so you have everything here in the React folder. You can close this now, and let's go back to the source code. All right, so back in here, I'm going to close this for now. This is our index file, and this is the index 2 here. Okay, so here's the vendor here, and that's good. That's the Bootstrap, and then the CSS for the Bootstrap here. Okay, so the index 2 is the Bootstrap version. All right, and if you run it, you should see what it looks like, just like we saw earlier in the browser. Now, usually, if you have your default IDE, you didn't install any extension, you cannot view this directly on the browser. So, for example, if I do a right click, you see that I have something called Open in Default Browser, Open in Live Server. You may not have this because you did not install the extension. So what I want you to do is so that you can view this on the browser like this. If I do that, right, it will load my browser, and you can see from just the F file CSS file directly from the browser, and you see that it looks just like on the example site. It's fully functional because it's just a HTML page. So you cannot do that until you have that extension installed. Otherwise, you have to go out to the folder and then run it from there. So to make that work, you can do one or two things. And I probably recommend this one too. So you right click on it, there's another thing called Open in Live Server. If I run that, it's kind of same thing happens, except now this time I'm running on a server, a port localhost, or 127.0.0.1, right? So this is the preferred way to do it because now it's running on a server. And so I'll prefer to do that for this IDE, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and then go to the I'm going to turn this off here. Go back here and search for this extension called Live Server. I think that's what it's called. And I have it already, so you can search for it, Live Server. Search for that, and then just install it like you did with the Babel here earlier. And then just click Install. And then once you do that, then you should now be able to access your files, any of your HTML file directly from here in the browser. So you can do from here or over here, it doesn't matter. Open a live server and it should run. All right. So now, we want to do is we want to add a few things. So like this CSS here, right? So these two style sheet here, we can copy this and add it to our index page. This is the one inside our application. So you can put it right below this title here. Okay, you can put it here. If you just want to see what it looks like, you can add the navigation. So from, let me close this, line 24 through 49, you can just copy the whole thing here and put it inside maybe like, I don't know, right about line 36. Put right here right about the logo, okay? And then this is the root of our app. And then the footer is at the very bottom here. Okay, so this part here is the footer. Copy that and move it maybe like down here towards the bottom of the body here. And then make sure you also include these two scripts down here. You need them to make them work. So copy that. And this will be on the root of the page. So we'll put that inside here at the very bottom, right below the footer here. Okay, if it's not properly indented, you can just do a right click on it and just say format document, and it will do that automatically for you. Okay, so just save that now, and you can close this now. The index 2, you don't need that anymore. So we got everything here when we need it. Save that, and if you go back to the browser, right, it happened already. It's live, so you can see that now we have the navigation added. It's functional, but doesn't go anywhere. And then right below that we have our footer. Okay, so if you press F12 again, you always inspect to see if there's any error. Okay, you might get some warning and so on, but for now, as you can see, nothing is showing any error. But the only thing is that this is now what we wanted. Okay, I'm not sure if you have this component here or not. This is for React component. If you don't have it, if you don't see here, go find the extension for React. I think you look for like Chrome extension, or if you're using Safari, or I'm not sure it supports Safari, or Firefox, just look for a React extension, install it, and you should see these here. So if I click on this one, you see that it will show all my React element only. So I have only one, right? If you don't do that, if you go to the elements, it shows the actual DOM elements. Okay, but anyways, so you see that it has no error, which is good. But then this is not what I want. Okay, we want this to be a part of the React component, and so is this, because right now the footer and navigation are not React components. Okay, and we want those to be React components. Well, if they're not React component, that means you cannot move data to these two components here. You have to physically or manually go to the index file and make the changes. We don't want that. Okay, we want all these to be managed by React. So to do that, you have to do the following. So again, this had to be moved out to a separate component. Like I mentioned in the assignment, it'll be a footer component, and then the navigation up here will also be moved out to a nav component. All right, and I'll show you do that. So that will get you started. I'll show you one, you can do the other one. So let's just do the navigation component, okay? So let's go over here to the src folder. And now for this, for your app, now usually you don't want to put all your files here. It can get really crowded. So I want you to create a folder in the src folder. Click here or right click in the add component directory and call it components. Okay, components. And the inside this components, if you have more and more file directory, if it gets complicated, you can also put subdirectories in there too, right? But I guess for us, it wouldn't be that bad. So I'm going to create another file, a file in there, and I'll call it the nav.js. Okay, just call it nav. So follow the convention. All components are used use the capitalized version of the file name, because this is the actual name, usually the actual name of your component. So kind of be consistent with that. Okay. So in here, you want to kind of follow what they have here for the app. For example, you need basically just this part here, right? So if you have a logo, any file that you want to use, you can put it here. But otherwise, you just need this for now. So you can copy that or type it inside here at the top. So import the React capital R from the React package. Okay, so that will tell React that this is a React component. Okay, so now you can use a function component or class component. And this one here, we're going to do the just the function component first, because it's easier to understand. So a function, you can use the traditional function method, like use function nav, and then it takes no parameter in this example here. And then inside here, you just put the return, and then inside the return is what I showed you earlier. that you must have at least one tag in there. Okay, so what we need to do is basically go to the index. Oh, before we do that, okay, so at the very bottom here, just make sure in order for this to be used, you need to export it out. Okay, so you can say export default and the name of this function, just the app name of the app component, nav. And save that. And if you have a lot of functions in here, you can add a lot of them in there, but we're gonna just put one inside each file, okay? And for now, and later on, you can add more in the same file if you want, but again, for now, just one. So now let's go to the index file, and I'm gonna copy the lines 35 through 62 here, the navigation. So I'm gonna copy that whole thing, including the comment, cut it out. Okay, you can save this file and then put it right inside here, the return statement. Okay, and just right click on it to format. So where's the format? So everything will be indented for you. All right, and so you can see that now you have some problem. And why? Again, I mentioned that this is not HTML, right? Otherwise, this would have been taken as HTML syntax. You can see that it's not legal syntax because it's JSX. Now, to put comment in JSX, you cannot do it this way. You have to put the curly brace, and then inside the curly brace, close that over here. Okay, you put like JavaScript style /star, and then over here you put */. I'm just doing one line. If you do multi-line, again, just wherever you close it, it'll be in a comment. Okay, so in this case, this is a comment for navigation, and then it will be converted to regular HTML comment. Okay, so now you see that that's a comment. Here it tells you unreachable. What I do here? Let's see. Nav. Okay, I did something wrong here. Let's see if I take this. Oh, let's see what happens. Yeah, the comment, it didn't like the comment, but I think that's how you do the comment. I'm gonna leave it out for now, and see. Well, yeah, we're gonna put it back on. Put it back on. It's fine. And the only thing is that remember, you need to put this inside a root, right? So this is a comment, so therefore this is a tag, and I think that's why it doesn't work. So instead of saying nav here, I'm going to wrap the whole thing with a div tag. Okay, and then I'm going to close it at the very bottom here with a div tag. Okay, and then again, just format document. All right, so now everything is nested inside the div tag, and now the comment is okay because I cannot have two tags in here, and this is considered a tag. It's a comment tag. All right, so now that's done. We moved that from the index to a component now, which is a React component, and everything here should be just fine. The only thing is that remember the classes, they have to be changed, right? You cannot use that. And you have to rename it to all of them. So the shortcut is you just highlight that and then copy that and go to like replace, and then replace that with the class name equal. Okay, this is the shortcut, and just select them all, and all should be replaced to class name, and the rest should be the same. All right, so now and go ahead and save this. So we got the template at the very bottom. We export it out. Now we need to go to the app.js file, and we need to add it in here. So the first thing is we need to import it first. So import the nav from, and then the /./components folder, and then we have a nav. So pick that. Okay. And now we can use the nav inside here. So this is the root component. We have the logo, and then the logo is inside the header, right? So the header goes here to the end here. So maybe we're gonna put a navigation inside the header as well. If you want, if you don't put outside, it doesn't matter. So let's just say I want to put it right inside the head here and see what happens. So over here, then I'll put the nav because this is my component, right? Again, React uses a capitalized or the Pascal case for your navigation. Always use uppercase to differentiate from the regular HTML. So all HTML, standard HTML tags should be lowercase. So please do not use like capital P like this. It'll be misleading because if you use the capital letter, React will think that is a React component. Okay, so it should be all in lowercase for standard HTML. Now, because we're not putting anything inside here, right, nothing goes in between, you can do it this way, or you can just say nav and then slash close like that. Again, you must close it either doing the single tag, single-sided, or the double-sided. As long as you close it, that's fine. Okay, so if I save that now and go to my page, okay, so you see that now it's just like before. There's nothing changes. The footer is part of the index, but this should be part of the component now. If I go press F12, and you see that if I go to the components, you see I have the app and then the nav, which is now a React component. Okay, if you go to the elements here, you expand the root. Notice the head section did not have that anymore, right? We had it earlier here. This is not a component yet, not a React component. It's outside of itself, just regular HTML. But inside the div tag, you open that, and then you see the app inside the app, which is the root component. There's the header. Inside the header is our nav right here. This is the navigation component we created. Okay, so it's been transpired, converted to regular HTML element. Okay, and that's what we see inside in the source code. Our class, we call it class name, but it's been converted to regular HTML attribute called class. So this is the real DOM, okay, and it's been converted so that browser understands it because now it's regular HTML. But in the source code, it's not like this, right? All right. So that is how this works. So your task is then to do something similar and build the footer tag and then put it inside the div root here. Okay, if you go to the console again, you refresh it, you see a bunch of warning errors here. Okay, let me close that. And it just doesn't like it because it's warning. It just says the href attributes, all these attributes here. I think it's referring to these up here, all these links up here, right? As you can see, they go to a pound sign, right? These are HTML, and it doesn't like that. So usually you want to put it into a route. If you go to the home page, it's just the slash. If you go to about, it would be like a slash about, and so on. So to get rid of these warnings here. So let's do that really quick before we end this video. So again, here back in the nav.js file. So all these here, all these links, they just say, instead of saying star, pound sign, put the slash here. There's the home. This is the routing pattern, the home page. This is the about page, for example. And of course, the assignment you want to change these to the one I said in the assignment. It's like flight and flight information, delete, and so on. Okay, but the same logic applies. So I just want you to name all these routing patterns to make sure they are not going to the exclamation or the pound sign. Okay, so save that, go back to the browser and refresh it again. All those errors should go away. If not, maybe just two more. Yeah, one more, maybe this one here. Yeah. All right, so I think that's you can fix that really quickly. And again, so fix the footer, and you should be all good to go. And if you have any questions, again, just shoot me email, let me know. And I hope you enjoy this course.